Y'all see that? Look at her. She done found a bone to eat. Now, I will admit this. She's more loyal to food than she is to me. That's one thing I can't admit. So, I'm going to warn you now. What I do may look to someone who is very, maybe not Iris. Hey. Do what I want you to do. Come on. It may look a bit crude because I'm not begging her. Come. Good girl. You see how I want her to walk through stuff like that. When I tell her to come, I want her to come. Because it could be a scenario where I need for her to come to me immediately. And it doesn't matter what she needs to walk through. I want her to walk through it. Come. I'm going to show you. I'm going to take this lead off. This is a 30-foot. And see, just like she's trying to go back to, hey, look at me. Hey, no, sit. You see how when she doesn't sit, I don't continue to ask her to sit. I make her sit. And this is what I mean by a headstrong dog. You know what I want. See, she's telling me no. Hey, Iris, sit. See, I took one step forward and she sat. Iris will get like that. She will get headstrong and won't do it. Hey, I didn't put her on stay. Sit. Good girl, stay. This is what I mean by a headstrong dog. Lydia, I noticed you called, I know you were calling the wrong dog's name, but they hear you talking to them. That dog knew that you were talking to it. That's why when you immediately said his name, he came out of there. He's like, I'm going to see how long she catch on before she realized she's calling me the wrong name. They know you're talking to them. This is why a lot of times you don't always want to train them with their name. And you see how, did you see how when I move? You see how I move and she'll follow me. You see they're slacking the lead? You see she's not really looking at me, but she's following me because I'm going in a circle. You see that? Iris, sit. You see when I step into her territory, she sits. This is why I really don't recommend you train with names. They should do what you want. And really, to be honest, she should sit when I say sit. She's being defiant. You see how she's curious about something. She's paying attention to me, but not really. And I also want you to notice what type of leashes I use. I use the same ones that Caesar tends to use. Now, this one is old and pretty worn out. It was pretty and black when I got it. This one was made by Mendota World Products. I don't know who this one was made by, but when Mendota first started making these, they were the only ones that were making the ones that's made out of climber's rope. So this rope is very, very, very strong. They make another thickness. I actually like the thicker one. It has a handle in it. This one is 6 foot. They make a 3-foot one. I'm going to be honest, when you start training, it depends on the dog. With Iris, I started with 3 foot because I wanted Iris to get used to walking right next to me. And I'll show you what I mean by that. And it also has this. And I want to mention the reason why you want to use the slip leads. Iris, get up. Good girl. The reason why you want to use the slip leads. Iris, sit. Good girl. See, she's being good now because she's paying attention to me a little more than the smells. So when you pull this, it's going to tighten up. So when you need to make a correction, you simply make the correction. I'm not making too much of a correction right now, but you also want this to ride really high on the neck. If you've ever seen dog shows, it always rides really high on the neck. That's the most sensitive part of the neck. I want you to understand that a dog is not a human. Their mothers carry them around by their necks. The same thing with cats. That's why my cats, I can pick them up by the neck if I need to. I don't do it often, but if I need to pick them up and just grab them real quick, I can do that. And then support them from the underside because their necks are very tough. It's the same thing with a dog. Right back here is where their mother would have grabbed them. It's a little more sensitive up here. but it's still not as sensitive as, say, our neck, because if something bites you on the neck, you'll probably scream. So let me try to show you guys. There's a dog that lives over there. She's looking for Zeus. Zeus is a beautiful blue pit as well. Come. And also, I shouldn't have to say come. I really don't. It's out of old habit. But you should be able to walk, and your dog just walk with you. See, I can speed up, and I can take her right with me. She's gonna follow me wherever I go. When I stop, she stops, kind of. Now she'll walk a little bit, but she's not walking how she was. I'm gonna take her out into the lot over here, where I have a little bit more open space. Okay, you're gonna go under something immovable, like that. So, as a dog that follows, you are the leader. If you watch a pack of dogs, the leader doesn't say, okay, we're gonna go now, let's go. No, they just walk. Now, she's a bit ahead of me now. See, I can give her a correction, she will stop. Before, when I got her, she would not do that. The 3-foot lead, she would walk with me just like this. You see how close she is? This is how you want you don't want them to flop down in the middle of a training video. But if I ask her to get up, Iris, up, good girl. Let's go. You'll see, she'll walk right next to me. She does not pull me. I'm holding this with 2 fingers. Uh-oh, you tangled? Now you got something on your foot. Right now, during this time of year, we have those little things, those little sticker things. She's got one in her foot. So if she hops like that, I know that's what she's in. Those things will be gone after a little while. But come, Iris, let's come back into the shade. I know, baby, it's hot. I'm working you out here. But like I said, you want them to follow you. You want them to be more or less docile. You want them to be more or less calm. Let me see if I can show you guys, if I can get her up. Come on, I. Up. Good girl. Do you see how her ears are back? And they're not forward? Iris? You see how she puts them up? She's listening. See, all this little stuff you have to be able to decode. She's listening. There's somebody doing something at the home. She's listening. She hears those cats across the street. But you see how she's listening? But her ears are not... There's a more intense. If you watch a dog, you can see it. They're more intense. Their stance becomes more rigid. You see how she's panting? A dog will not. When they're very intent, they will not pant. This is something she never did. The first year I had her, it took me almost a year to get... See how she closed her mouth? That was just a little bit more intense. But they can get more intense than that. Because they'll get intense to a point where they will stand and be very rigid. They'll control their breathing. They're almost going into a kind of strike thing. And you have to be able to see the beginning stages of it. And to be honest, I saw it a little bit in a previous video that Lydia had before that chicken got killed. But I was hoping it was just playfulness, because I will say this, it's hard to tell in a video. It's very hard to catch things on video and know for sure what it is, because dogs also give off energy. You have to be able to at some point feel that energy, and you have to train yourself in that. And I'm gonna be honest, with black people, that's gonna be very hard, because unfortunately we've kind of that was beat out of us, because in Africa we used energy a lot, in spiritual ceremonies, religious ceremonies, all that kind of stuff. It's like the only time we want to summon spirit is in church, but you have to summon spirit everywhere. You know, God ain't just in church. Now, so that being said, I didn't comment on it because I'm like, you know, hey, it's they puppies, they homestead, they got it under control, which I still think they have it under control. I don't think it's out of control. It's just, you know, things happen, and it's not a negative critique. It's just, you know, I'm throwing these videos out there as just something for people to learn from, not necessarily aimed at Lydia, because I think anybody who's had dogs, you see that right there? Shh. See, that I don't like. It's a little too focused. Now see how she's still panting a little? See the curious? You see the wiggle of the nose and sniffing? The first time she wasn't doing that. She would. See, I don't mind if you use your nose. It's when you use your eyes and you really hone in on something. But if y'all saw that for a split second, Those are things that you still have to correct. Iris is 5 or 6 years old. I still have to correct her on those things. So that was just a great little thing to show you. And really, to be honest, I usually would have corrected it a little faster. That's another thing you have to learn how to do. You have to learn how to correct really quickly, because dogs are so just like, they're faster than you. So you have to be aware. Even if you're talking with somebody, you still should be aware of what your dog is doing at all times. And I say that because dogs are prey animals. They can hurt someone or something. I believe firmly that if you have dogs, it doesn't matter how big or how small, you should be in control of them at all times. If you can't control them, you should give them over to somebody who can control them. So, yeah, there's a ton of little, just little things, small things that you have to catch on to. But, see, when I start moving, she will move. If I move faster, she'll speed up. See what I'm saying? He, ho, sit. She used to know heel, but I stopped teaching her heel. Sit. Good girl. But overall, she's being fairly good. But yeah, so and you want your dogs to really focus on you more than anything else. You see how she glances up at me? See how she glances up at me again? Your dog should look at you from time to time to make sure that they are doing what you want them to do. When your dog starts focusing on something else more than you, you're not in control at all. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you ever watch a pack of dogs run, the dogs individually will do what they want. But as soon as that pack leader moves on, they're gone. You get what I'm saying? So in the back of their mind, they're like, I'm doing this over here, but I'm still watching him. So you have to be a leader at all times. Being a good dog owner will make you a good leader. Let's see if I can get her to run. So you see she will run with me when I slow down. I give her a little correction. She will slow down. She notices she's ahead of me a little bit, so she's slowing down so I can catch up. Because she knows she should be pretty much on the side of me. And now she is on the side of me. It might not look like it, but she is. But yeah, you want them to do what you tell them to do. If you tell them to come, you want them to come. If you tell them don't smell that poop, you want them to stop smelling that poop. But yeah, it just takes, and I won't lie, it takes time to learn your dog, because each individual dog, I mean, they all do a lot of the same characteristics. But they kind of do them a little differently and for different reasons. It took me a little while to realize that Iris was not aggressive, but insecure, because at first I thought her barking and growling and all that was really aggressiveness. It's not. It was insecurity, because she was with someone who led her to be insecure. And I want to talk about that a little bit more. If you have these things in your personality where you're anxious a lot or all of that, I want you to use your training sessions as an opportunity to help you with your anxiety about whatever it is. Your dogs can help you and you can help them in that sense. It's very therapeutic. When I first got this dog, I used to have I used to get more frustrated and yell more, but no, yelling doesn't work. I'm going to tell you right now, yelling doesn't work with dogs. If you've ever seen a dog fight or anything, or a dog get into a fight, people yell and scream, it doesn't work. It doesn't stop the dogs. Matter of fact, it amps them up more. So it's better if you're more calm with them. Because the calmer you are, the calmer they'll be. The more level-headed you are, the more level-headed that you'll be. I mean, they'll be. They will mimic you. And I really think that's why Iris over time is a lot more calm than she was. Look at her. She smells something over there. It's probably Felix. But you really have to work on these things. And a lot of people, oh, I'm afraid of dogs, and I'm, this, that, and the other. Get over that. Like, I've heard so many people say that, and you'd be surprised. A dog will rescue you from everything that ails you. Same thing with cats. I've had so many people tell me, oh, I'm afraid of cats, and they come to my house and they want to steal my cats. But you have to understand, my cats are a product of who I am, more or less. Just like the blue pit that stays back there. He's a beautiful dog, but I could tell they let him do whatever. When they moved here and he started barking at me, they started correcting him more. And I noticed his behavior, his demeanor has changed. You see how sometimes, you see she wants to do what she wants to do? You can't allow that. She wants to pull and lean and go where she wants to go. She wants to go to the fence to go smell back there and hope that Zeus is going to show up so that they can do their, well, they don't fight each other. They don't do that, but let's put it this way. Because of Iris's past and her being insecure and allowed to do things that she shouldn't have been allowed to do, there are times that you can be triggered. It's just like an alcoholic or a drug addict. Sometimes they can be triggered to relapse. It's very similar to a dog. And Zeus's energy makes her, see this I like. When she lays out and relaxes, puts her feet back. See this I let her do because I want to encourage it. I want to encourage her to be relaxed and submissive like that. They won't show their belly if they're not submissive. Iris would never roll. She would never lay there like that when I first got her. She just didn't do that because she never felt comfortable enough to do it. But yeah, so you know, when they want to pull you in directions that you're not trying to go in, correct that. When they want to do things that you don't want them to do, correct that. You can't be like, oh, I'm so kind and I'm so nice. People always say dogs sometimes responds better to a man than a woman. It's usually because a woman's nature usually is to be sweet and kind and lovey-dovey and kiss the dog and all of this. But sometimes when you're doing that, you're reinforcing what you don't want them to do. For instance, if they're doing something bad, do not go up to them and cuddle them. Or if they're doing something that you don't want them to do, it's okay. No, don't do that. They're not going to die. It's just like your children. I think sometimes parents give their kids anxiety because when their kids freak out about something, they go coddle them immediately. My mother never coddled me if I was crying. She'd be like, what's wrong with you? She would make me talk through it. Are you hurting? Where are you hurting? Okay, look at it. Is it that bad? Are you bleeding? No, Mom, I'm not bleeding. But I know it's hurting you, but are you bleeding? Your arm's still on your body? Well, you're good then. You're going to go through stuff like that. Iris, sit. Thank you. Oh, it's a cardinal. And sometimes you will see them. You don't know what they're, because they can hear better than you. You don't know what they're getting up about. She saw a cardinal over there by my fig trees. And that fascinates her. You see that? Shh. See? I want that. I don't mind the curiousness. It's the intent. It's the intensity. Power breeds like Pits, Dobermans, Rottweilers, German Shepherds, you can't let them do that. You can't. They're too powerful. They're too big. See, a Chihuahua, technically you shouldn't let a Chihuahua or anything else do that. Hunting breeds either, like Labs and stuff like that. You shouldn't let them do that either. But when it comes to power breeds, you have to snap them out of it a whole lot faster because their brain works just that much faster. See, whereas you're looking like, oh, wow, it's a cardinal. They've taken off after it. You see what I'm saying? If you don't stop them and tell them, okay, that's not what I want. That intensity, you can look at that bird and pant and be as, you know, kind of easy, laid back going as you want. Because when they're in the pant mode, they're not thinking about attacking. That's not, but when their mouth is closed, because when you see a cat or a dog, when they get ready to jump on something, are they panting? No, they have to relax to pant. They're crouching down, they're tensing up, tensing every muscle, and they're getting ready to take out after it. They're getting as quiet as possible so they don't alert. They're a prey animal. Notice those things. I mean, you know, people are probably more familiar with it when they see cats do it, but dogs do it very similarly. They do it very, very similarly. They'll get very stiff and very still and very quiet. Just like, I don't know if y'all can see, let's see if I can catch that. You see it? That was the cardinal that she was looking at. But you see, she was looking at a direction, but she's calm now. The first time she saw it, she was very intent. She was getting ready to take off. If I had waited a millisecond longer, she would have took off. And you have some dogs, because I've been working with her, she's not that fast. But when I first got her, she would take, like, you didn't have milliseconds for the correction because she'll take off. It's just that, like, you have to be that on it. But, like I was saying before, is, you know, spend time with your dog. Use your dog as therapy, but also, you know, help them, let them help you let them show you more of who you are, because I feel like that's what's wrong with America and a lot of countries. People just don't really know who they are. They don't know their tendencies. They don't pay attention to stuff. They don't, you know. Look, here comes her brother. Come here, Chrissy. Look, she sees her brother. But see, she wags her tail. She would not do that when I got her. She thought he was food. Didn't you? You thought your brother was food? He's not food, is he? He's Chris. Yeah. But you can do the baby talk when they're being good, by the way. If they're not being good, don't do that. Because you will foster everything. And so if you're a woman and you're very sweet and nurturing and cuddly and huggy, sometimes you can't do that. You have to dial that back some. And I'm that way too, because trust me, I told you, you can't go over there. You can't go over there with Zeus. Come back this way. I see that probably looks rough to y'all, but trust me, she's so strong. You have to, hey, you know what I want. Sit. Thank you. And a lot of times, if you wonder why you sit so much, sit is a position to get her to do that. She knows when she sits, she's like, okay, I have to sit down. I have to be calm. I can't. And a lot of times sitting will eventually lead to laying down, which I don't mind either. I don't mind if she lays down. If I say sit and she lays down, that's fine for me. Because I want to put her in a place where she's calm, where she's submissive, where she's less likely to dart off. For instance, had Iris seen that bird standing up, she probably would have darted off faster. Because she's already in the position that she needs to take in order to hunt. You get what I mean? That's cats that really crouch down low. Some dogs will. It depends on the dog. I think I've seen rat terriers do it, but I think that's how they catch rats. And that's another thing. Whatever dog you have, really research what those dogs were bred to do and what instinctually was bred into them. All dogs are prey animals, but for instance, Jerry, my foxhound, it's very interesting to watch her because she does things very differently than Iris because she's a scent hound. Iris is very scent oriented. But Jerry will walk the perimeters of this yard. She'll walk the perimeters looking for things. And when she gets onto a scent, she'll follow it. And it doesn't matter what you do to call her. She does not hear you. They're trained to be more nose-driven than ear-driven. So in her case, I have to train her differently. I've had to train her to use her ears a bit more than her nose. Because her nose will tell her to keep following the scent and ignore my voice. Whereas Iris... she will tend to ignore sound. So it's a bit different in how you train them to do that. Come. I don't care. No. See, here's the thing. See how she's being belligerent? She wants to do what she wants to do. Thank you. And I want her turned away from whatever her fascination is. Because that's a level of control. I control where you look and what you get what I'm saying? So she's fascinated about over there because she's waiting on Zeus to come out of the house because she wants to run up to that fence. I control that. Because what I do is I stand this way and I make her look the opposite direction of what her fascination is. And like I said, this just comes from learning your dog and all this kind of stuff. You just, over time, you get a notion of how to learn them and how to do all that. But, I can't think of a ton of other things that I probably would want to say, but if there's anything anybody wants to know in the comment section, or you got anything you want to add to the conversation, or stuff like that, feel free to do so. I may do some more videos, maybe. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but I'm decent. I've taken a dog that I could barely take anywhere in public to a dog that I'm pretty secure about her being in public. I don't have any really true issues. Other than if someone has an aggressive dog, I won't lie. If they have an aggressive dog, she doesn't like it because she's very dominant and she tries to check them. But, and she doesn't care the size of the dog. See, that's the thing that gets her in trouble. She doesn't care the size of the dog, anything. It doesn't matter. They can be 2 times her size. She doesn't care. And that's why Zeus sets her off. Zeus is very, I don't think he's aggressive, but he's a typical male. Just, you know, he barks, he's big, he has presence. He has learned that people will back away from that. Iris don't like that. She was like, oh, you think you big and bad? I'm finna try to get with you. You know what I'm saying? She'll try to, she's that dog. So, just keep in mind, sometimes you might have that dog that's a bit dominant. You have to be more dominant than them. You have to control them. If you don't, they will control you, and they will do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. So yeah, but I'm gonna let that be the end of this video. Hope y'all liked it. I hope you got something from it, especially if you have dogs. That's another thing. If you got cats, your cat should feel very comfortable. Your other animals should feel very comfortable. You see how he's closing his eyes really slowly? That's the cat sign for I'm comfortable. I love you. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. He's very comfortable. So your animal should always feel very comfortable. I'm gonna be honest. If you see your I'm not saying your animal should not move, because sometimes your dog is there for herding purposes, and that fulfills some of their instincts. But they shouldn't be running because they fear for their lives, if you get what I'm saying. They shouldn't be running for that. They should be running like, okay, this is natural for me to run where they want me to go, but I'm not so scared that they're going to bite my head off, if you get what I'm saying. So, you see he's sleeping. Well, he had his eyes closed. But anyway, y'all, till next time. I'll see you guys later.